Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? This is your boy Isaac.
And this is your boy Bryce.
And we are Brothers on Tennis. And folks, we have come to the end of the 2021 U.S. Open. And by golly, was it a tournament to be seen. Bryce, man, we have talked about this tournament. We've had daily shows. We've had just long discussions with listeners. Tell me, what are your thoughts as it relates to the closing of this year's U.S. Open?
I know I said something like this in the very beginning of the tournament. You know, initially coming into the 2021 U.S. Open, there was a lot of focus on who was not going to be here. There was the focus on Federer's not here, Nadal's not here, Thiem's not here, Venus and Serena are not here. I always say, for those who cared, Sophia Kenin was not here.
Right.
And even from the commentators on ESPN, this may have been one of the most memorable, with all those names missing.
Right.
This may have been one of the most memorable U.S. Opens ever.
Exactly. Ever.
I mean, we're going to talk about more events this year than we normally talk about for the majors. I mean, we always kind of talk about men's singles and women's singles, and we tap into the doubles. I mean, we were having major things happen in the wheelchair.
Yep.
Events.
Yep.
You know, it was different level. And so the main thing that I take away from the 2021 U.S. Open is that the future of tennis is bright. And when I say that, I mean on both the men's tour and the women's tour, and from some of these juniors we see coming up, because everybody wants to know, okay, when the big three moves on, you know, who we going to have? You know, Venus and Serena move on, who we going to have? We've got plenty.
Exactly, bro. We've got plenty. There's so much talent out there and so many just inspiring stories and things that we came to hear about in this U.S. Open. I thought it was a tremendous tournament, man. Tremendous.
Absolutely. So let's do this. Let's give our review of what kind of went down. We already did our mid-fortnight show, so we're not going to take you all the way to the beginning.
Right.
We're just going to kind of talk about what happened in the last couple of days. And the first event, Isaac, that I like first to start off with is the wheelchair men's doubles.
Yes.
Now, there had been so much talk coming into the U.S. Open about Djokovic going for the Grand Slam. Mm-hmm. Well, you know who got the Grand Slam? It was Alfie Hewitt and Gordon Reed.
That's right.
Two great Brits that came through, and they won the Grand Slam this year in wheelchair men's doubles.
Incredible. So incredible. Speak on it, man.
Right. Shout out to both of them. I mean, really kind of shame on us for not even knowing going into the U.S. Open that this is what they were riding on.
Right.
But they were able to get those wheelchair doubles Grand Slam, and that's huge. We know no matter what the event is in tennis, to get the Grand Slam in your event is the pinnacle. Well, it's almost the pinnacle.
Right.
The Golden Slam would actually be the pinnacle, which is the perfect segue.
Perfect segue. Go ahead.
All right. For us talking about a couple of other, events. And so I want to start off with the wheelchair women's singles.
Mm-hmm.
And that Deidre de Groot.
Yep, de Groot. Yep.
She got the Golden Slam.
Yes, she did. Yes.
In singles, in wheelchair women's singles.
Yes. Incredible that hadn't even been mentioned going into all of this, that you had so many people that were actually working towards a golden slam. And so it was really great to see that got a little bit of the storyline, that Dee Dee DeGroot got her, got a little bit of visibility for what she accomplished. And it's absolutely incredible.
She was like, Steffi Graf, hold my gloves. This is all about what I'm doing right now. Sister, I got you. We like what? We neck to neck, right?
Neck to neck, exactly.
Oh, that was great. So keeping it going.
Yep.
In the wheelchair quad singles, and we've been talking about this guy.
Yeah.
Dylan Alcott. I mean, has a gold medal in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
In the Olympics, got gold medal in tennis. We've been watching him win the slams like for the last I don't know how many years. Just an incredible athlete.
Right.
He also won the Golden Slam in the wheelchair quad single.
Right,
event.
Right. And what's interesting, Bryce, is he was the one that I was familiar with. I did not know that Dee Dee DeGroot was actually working towards the Golden Slam on the women's quad side, wheelchair quad side of the draw. So I was out of the loop on that one. But yeah, we've seen Dylan. We've heard his name, hugely popular. We really got to see how popular he was when we went down to Australia in 2017 for the Australian Open. I mean, Dylan was all over the TV commercials everywhere. His star is bright and rightfully so. And he proved that he is continuing to put in work and get results.
Hey, shout out to him. Now, I may be wrong when I say this, so folks don't crucify me if I'm wrong, but did he say he was going to kind of retire after this if he got the Golden Slam?
I believe that's what he mentioned. That, yeah, he was like, I'm about to do, kind of your more spectacular Pete Sampras and just be like, I'm out. I'm going out on the Grand Slam. Bye.
Golden Slam.
Golden Slam, exactly.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. So once again, the talk was all about Djokovic.
Right.
And his slam opportunities coming in. And we had these slams happening left and right them last couple of days. It was like, you get a slam, you get a slam.
You get a slam.
Come here, boy, you get a slam. Everybody was getting a slam there at the end.
Yes.
And so it was really, really good to see. And it was good to see that footage they showed of Dylan with his trophy, and he filled it with beer and chugged it.
Right? I was like, Dylan, you better know how to celebrate. That's how we do it. Come on now.
Oh, my God. And speaking of this is how we do it, we have got to shout out Miss Robin Montgomery.
Come on now.
Now, let's just put it out there the way it should be put. Robin Montgomery, 17-year-old, from Maryland, out from the DMV, right? Basically kind of coming out of the same camp as Tiafoe, right?
Right.
Sister came through as the number 7 seed and won the junior girls title in singles. She took out the number 1 seed. I think when she beat the number 1 seed, she took her out like 3-2. Just wasn't even playing with her, right?
Right.
Wasn't even playing with her.
Get out of here.
I think in the final she won 2 and 4. Wasn't playing with them, right?
Not at all.
But just to put a little extra stank on what she did,
come on,
she then went and won the girls doubles title.
See,
now I don't know how many times that has happened. I need to do my research on that, but I'm assuming that's fairly rare.
Right.
That you have a junior win both the singles and the doubles title, and for our pride, she's a sister. Lefty got that lefty swing.
Exactly. It's so great to just see those results from Miss Montgomery. Just I mean, incredible. Yeah, she showed out, and like I said, she's been on our radar, and it's really nice to see that she too decided that, you know what, it's I'm gonna make this U.S. Open mine. and she got it done, man. It's a crazy, crazy, crazy thing.
Yeah, so shout out to her. We're going to try to get in contact with her because Robin needs to talk to Brothers on Tennis.
She needs to talk to us, that's for sure, because we got questions.
Yeah. We got questions. We need to understand. So shout out to you, Miss Robin Montgomery. So keeping it going, we move
Yes.
on to mixed doubles, right? Where we had an American. Because this is kind of rare these days for us to get an American doing something, right now. So we got to really celebrate it when it happens. Even though she had to team up with a Brit to make it happen, we had Desiree Krajcek playing with Joe Salisbury from Great Britain, and they win the mixed doubles title.
Incredible, Bryce. I mean, I tell you what. Now you talk about somebody's stars on the rise. That's that Joe Salisbury. Joe Salisbury is like, listen, I am putting myself out there. I'm the doubles guy. So if you want to get some titles, I'm that guy. And he been dragging Rajiv Ram along, and said, "Boy, I'm gonna teach you how to be a champion." And and he was like, "Little sis, we about to do this mixed double. So you come on, let's do this." And man, I've just been a fan of Joe Salisbury, and he is just a great doubles player. And he's all about the work, man. He gets out there and he puts in work and he gets it done. And I was very happy to see that they were able to get that mixed doubles title. That was awesome.
Yes, that was great. And you just tied it, about him dragging Rajiv Ram around. He drug him all the way to a championship. So Salisbury got him 2 titles this weekend because he and Rajiv Ram took out Jamie Murray and Bruno Suarez in the men's doubles final.
And Bryce gave him 2 hoe biscuits.
They lost the first at 6-3. They was like, wait a minute. Y'all look real hungry over there. We saw this little pink building on our way to the stadium. Stepped in there. They had hoe biscuits for sale. We got you a couple. Here you go. You know what I'm saying?
Here you go.
Now, the funny thing about the men's doubles was we was all hyped coming in on, obviously, Mektic and Pavic because they had been clowning all season long. But when they lost in the first round, this became open for somebody else, and Ram and Salisbury were the number 4 seed, so they were like, why not us?
Exactly. Why not us? I mean, we got the skill set. We can get it done. And now since y'all went out, hey, let's put in that work. And like I said, I think Joe Salisbury was like, look, Rajiv, I'm gonna drag you on here, but we got to get this done. And Rajiv was like, well, okay. And hey, they got it done, man. That was really, really a good final. I enjoyed that doubles final a lot. And again, Ram and Salisbury just ramped up their energy, their focus. They really started hitting some great shots. And I just think that Jamie and Bruno just, they just, for whatever reason, they couldn't maintain or couldn't step their level up the way that Salisbury and Ram did. They couldn't meet them at that new level.
Right.
And I think that's why they took them hoe biscuits. But still, great match, and I'm just so happy for them.
Right. Me too. So once again, he helped another American get a title, Mr. Salisbury.
Once again.
Yeah, so
drag him along.
We got to appreciate that British love over there. Now, bouncing over to the women's doubles, we was excited for a minute because, when Coco Gauff and Katie McNally put in work over the number 1 seed, Shea Sway and Elise Mertens, and then they kind of got the little retirement from Stefani and Dabrowski, they found themselves in the finals. And it was like, uh-oh, is this going to be Coco's, first Grand Slam title?
Right.
But Zhang and Sam Stosur were like, we done been around here for a few minutes.
We got history.
We got history. We know how this works. This ain't our first time around,
Not at all. And Sam is like, oh, and by the way, don't trip on my singles Grand Slam either. So
Right. I got me a title here too over Serena.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know what? When you watch that match, the finals between them, you just saw the difference between an experienced team,
Yeah,
and youth.
Yep. Yeah, unfortunately, they couldn't match. That they was trying to fight with their teen spirit, as I called it during the tournament.
Right.
But unfortunately, that is where experience kind of showing its way through, and they persevered in that third set. A competitive match, but still, they just didn't weren't able to get over the hump at the end. But hopefully, by them making a Grand Slam final, that will give them continued encouragement to stay on the path, to continue to grow their games, and to get over the finish line because they have the talent. It's just a matter of, again, crossing the finish line, which they didn't get it done this time, but that's okay. They will have more opportunities.
Right. But and also appreciate the accomplishment, right? This is the furthest they've ever gotten before in a major. And so, yes, let this serve as inspiration and motivation to cross the line, like you said, next time. Now, there's a couple of things I want to if Katie and Coco listen to this podcast, I want to, just as an observer, there's a couple of things I want to throw out to them. Mm-hmm. Number one, I would like to see both of them more effectively use the top spin lob.
Yes.
I think there were, as I was watching the matches, there were so many times that I felt like, oh, if you lobbed here, even if it's, sometimes a lob isn't always meant to be a winner. Sometimes it's just meant to back you up.
Yeah, setup, exactly, to back you up.
And I think they're so used to just like driving the ball, that is a very, very strategic shot to use, especially in doubles.
And Bryce, didn't Coco use that shot on one of the last points of the match, or
at the end?
Point?
Yeah. And the funny thing was, I was like, about time. I mean, exactly. Would have liked to see this early. Exactly. But that showed exactly what that shot can do for them. So hopefully, they take that. My other piece of feedback is more so for Coco. For someone who has the ground strokes that she does, she is missing a lot of opportunities of going up the line.
Right.
And, I know a lot of times in doubles, you're like cross court, but going up the line is two things. Number one, a lot of people don't have that shot. They can't hit that shot. So that's why they don't do it. But that's not Coco's thing.
Right. That's
Coco
not
has
her
the
issue.
shot.
She's got that
right.
shot. Exactly.
You can hit the shot. So the other thing is, even if you go for the shot and you don't always make it, it forces that net player to have to respect that down the line. You could see that Stosur and Zhang, they've had no problems crowding the middle because they had no fear of them going down the line on them.
Right.
So I get it. They're young. They're supposed to have coaches though. So I'm assuming, I ain't putting this on Coco and Katie.
Right.
Maybe I shouldn't say they should be listening to. If the coaches of Coco and Katie are listening to this podcast,
exactly,
you're welcome.
You're
welcome. There you go. You just shout us out at the at the Australian Open ceremony. When
there
you
you
get your
go.
Title.
There you go. I'm right there with you, brother.
Oh my God. But anyway, shout out to them. That was women's doubles, and that was great. So we got 2 events left here, Isaac.
Yes, we do, brother.
So let us start with women's singles.
Yes.
Isaac, take it away.
So, Bryce, you and I did our mid-fortnight show, and we talked, and what was so, it was so awesome that, you put it out there. You were like, listen, if I wanted really anybody to win, it would have been Layla Fernandez. And the fact
Mm-hmm.
that you put that out there and that she was able to make that final was incredible. It was tremendous. Who was, of course, not on either of our radars was Emma Raducanu. And Emma Raducanu was like, listen, y'all may not know me, but I'm going to make sure my name is in your mouth.
Right.
Not mouth with the F. I'm going to make sure my name's in your mouth by the end of this tournament. Bryce, the girl came through, did not lose a set, was like, y'all need to look at what I have just accomplished. I am a qualifier. I went through all of them. And guess what? I'm holding me a title. Bryce, you have got to speak on Miss Emma Raducanu.
Well, let me tell you what. It's a shame when you say your toughest match all tournament was in the second round of qualifying.
Right?
That's where your struggle was. After you got past the second round of qualifying, it was a breeze.
You was like, I'm good.
Right.
Good.
You know, Shelby Rogers, you think you did something beating Ash Barty? Come take this whole biscuit in this breadstick.
Come take it. Right?
I mean, Belinda Bench's gold medal. We not in Tokyo no more. No. Sakura, we know you scared.
Right?
You can't keep your nerve for nothing. Give you this breadstick and send you on your way. And then Layla Fernandez, girl, you know you got to be tired. All the matches you done played.
Right? You did a lot.
Right. So, she just came through. And it was hard for me to believe that this was the same woman.
Right.
That had to walk off her match at Wimbledon because of an anxiety attack.
Right. And was kind of low key getting some shade over it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And well, I guess she was like, okay, all right, haters. I got something for you.
Now, before we continue to talk about her, because we got a few more things to say about her.
Yes.
We got to shout out what Layla Fernandez did, because although Raducanu won the tournament, and so she gets the ultimate shine.
Yes.
Honestly, to me, Layla's performance was more impressive from a who she beat standpoint.
Absolutely.
When you talk about, and let me just roll through the names again in case y'all forgot, who they were.
Mm-hmm.
From the first round, if you don't know about Kanja, she ain't no easy out.
She ain't no easy out at all.
No. So that was tough. You got to know about Kaya Kanepi.
Exactly. Everybody know about Kaya.
Right. Who's known for just taking out people early, and especially in majors. Mm-hmm. Right? Osaka.
Yep.
You take out Osaka in 3 sets. You take out Angelique Kerber in 3 sets.
And give her a whole biscuit out the dough.
You take out Svitolina.
Mm-hmm. Tough match.
In 3 sets.
Tough match.
Right. You take out the number 2 player in the world, Sabalenka.
Yes.
In 3 sets. She took out 3 of the top 5 women in the world.
Exactly. Crazy. That cannot be understated, Bryce. Crazy. And all 3 sets. So no wonder she was tired. I'd be tired too.
Right.
I'd be tired after one.
Right. Exactly. But Raducanu, her path was impressive from the fact that she played 10 matches.
Right.
Nobody has ever done this before. What she did, no one has ever done before. Ever. No one has ever come in as a qualifier and gone on to win that major. And then just to put a little extra sauce on it, she didn't even lose a set.
That's what's just so ridiculous. How you going to play 10 matches and just not lose a set? That's unheard of, Bryce. It's unheard of.
Right. I mean, and let's not forget, this was her fourth tournament that she had played on the professional level, on the tour level. Her fourth.
Yeah, yeah. It's insane, bro. It's so insane. Where do you go from
Now,
here? I mean, really?
so, okay. Thank you. That's the segue. That's the segue. You know how we do in tennis.
Yep. Yep.
So just get ready, everybody, to just see Raducanu everywhere.
Uh-huh.
She will be posted as the next future number one.
Of course.
She will be expected to win every time she steps on the court.
Yep.
And newsflash, that ain't gonna
That
happen.
ain't gonna happen. No.
She might get stolen in the first round of Indian Wells.
Quietly. Because again,
You know?
people get up for upsets. And this now
Yep.
now that she's a Grand Slam champion, anybody that plays her sees her as an upset, as newsworthy. They get up for that.
Yep.
So there ain't no hiding now. People going to scope out her game. They're going to see what she, again, you may not have been able to check out any of her weaknesses, but you better know future matches, players are going to find out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. And what I hope for her, since she had that history of dealing with anxiety,
Right.
I hope she's got a good camp around her. Because let's be honest, by this point, don't we have enough examples of how not to do this?
Yes, I would say so.
I mean, really. So, I mean, she in the new ranking, she's now number 23 in the world. Fernandez is number 28. So props to them. Their days of having to go through qualifying
Pretty much done. Yep.
are over. So shout out to them for that. But like you said, now they have targets on their back.
Right.
And people are going to be ready for them. And although they are very good players, they not like head and shoulders above
No.
the rest of the tour.
No.
And, it may be, a rough period for them that they're getting ready to go through.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They call it sophomore slump for a reason. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because that's when people recognize you and prepare for you. And I think that, again, when you look at the U.S. Open and what happened, I would say less on Layla's side, more on Emma's side, is that you saw a lot of people that really didn't know her game well enough. Right. And they allowed the pressure of her being a teenager to get to them.
Yep. Right. And I'm going to tell you something else Raducanu is going to have rougher than Fernandez.
Mm-hmm.
So Fernandez has Canada, as who's behind her.
Right.
And, they know to push their people with caution.
Right. Right.
Just saying.
That's right. It's the truth.
Just saying.
Just saying.
We know the Brits just lose their damn minds over somebody winning something. And
exactly.
She's already on the cover of everything over there in England.
Right.
I saw an article earlier today that says she may end up becoming the first billion-dollar player on the women's tour because of endorsements.
Wow.
Doesn't
surprise me.
Because both girls are very attractive. They both will have that going for them. They both have very sweet looking personalities.
Marketable.
Very marketable.
Exactly. Very marketable. Very.
We're not talking about Ash Barty here, right? They are very,
right.
very marketable. And you don't think the WTA ain't going to try to expose that? Canada and Britain aren't going to try to tap into that. And we're not even talking about, one of them going to end up in Nike in a minute.
Oh, of course.
Nike about to, pull their claws out. I just, you're happy for them for their success, but you're very kind of wary about what this next step looks like for them.
Right. And in being honest with you, Bryce, I still look at long term. I still see a Coco Gauff being more established and having more or
Yeah.
gaining more. You know what I mean? I think that her star is a little bit brighter as it relates to possibilities around Grand Slams, the whole bit.
Yeah.
But and that kind of goes to your point is I have a feeling they're going to blow these two ladies up and they're going to end up going through like what we typically see. They'll go through a slump of, they got all this money and then they seen as a target and they're going to get stolen. And that's
Right.
there's going to need to be an adjustment period.
Right. Now, speaking of Coco, this could actually be beneficial for Coco
Yep.
because now, in terms of that whole teenager moniker, they, she's not the primary person people are talking about right now.
Right.
And so maybe a little less light on her will allow her to get better. What's going to allow her to get better is they work on that forehand. But,
Right.
beyond that forehand, at least even if the spotlight is shared now a little bit, I think this potentially helps Coco Gauff.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I do think that, again, like you said, with the forehand, we're coming to the end of the season. I think that it's really tough making, substantial gains in a shot that needs improvement when you're going through the season. So I think that you will see, in my opinion, a remarkable change and uptick in her forehand when you see her in 2022. I really believe that.
Yeah, I agree as well because it has become the worst known secret on tour that's where you play on Coco Gauff, when times get tough. Now, Isaac,
right.
I want to ask your opinion on this. So let's take away, Emma and Layla being blown up, with the media and all that kind of stuff. And we just look at them as players, as tennis players. What's your prediction for their future? Like where's their ceiling, for these two players?
Bryce, it's a great question, and a lot of folks who are listening to this probably going to be like, Isaac, you stupid. I don't agree with you, but I feel as though Emma has a bit of a higher ceiling than Layla. And the reason I say that is because, and I like Layla a lot, but I see Layla being very much like a Leighton Hewitt. Leighton jumped on the scene. He kind of dominated with his counterpunching style, but eventually players got their I guess, their aggressive and or, whatever you call the game style. They began to overwhelm Leighton and really be able to hit him off the court. And I see that being, we've seen that as being the case with Layla. And I honestly see that still being the case going forward. I feel like Layla did a great job of, again, fighting through, utilizing, her strategy and utilizing the power of her opponents to get her through. But again, having this result, I think, is going to lessen the anxiety that players feel when they face her. And I feel like they are still going to be able to overwhelm her and push her off the court. I really believe that. Whereas with Emma, I feel like she's a bit more aggressive, a bit more, dictative. And to me, that's a little bit more of what you need when you're playing the professional game. So I see her ceiling being a little bit higher, but at the same time, I kind of still see people learning her game, figuring out her weaknesses, and capitalizing on that. I'd love to hear your take on those two, Bryce.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I still am going to hold to what I've always said about Layla, that I feel like she's about a cheeseburger away from where she needs to be to regularly compete at that level. I think this was an outstanding 2 weeks for her, but I very easily could see things going back to the way that they've been next week. you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think Layla has, she's 28 now. I think her ceiling is, I think she can probably maintain top 15 pretty well if she just plays, very well. Now, speaking of Emma, there is something about her game where it just appears to me like there's very little that she doesn't have any hitches. All her strokes seem very smooth. Her service motion is very natural. She looks like she kind of moves well and glides across the court. It kind of, and I don't want to use this comparison because this isn't what I mean, but you see, you know when we look at Roger and we say it looks like his game is not very taxing on his body?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the way I feel about Emma.
Gotcha.
It looks like her game is not very taxing on her body, which is not the same as Layla. Layla looks like she's out there grinding it out, right?
Right.
And so if Emma can just continue to improve in terms of being consistent, maybe adding more power, more variety to her game, but it still remains that very smooth type stroke. Yeah, I definitely could see her going forward being more of a top 10 versus top 15 top player. But they are both so early in their careers, it's really hard to make those kind of predictions, right? Because so many things can happen and go so many different directions, and other players coming up. Robin Montgomery may come up and be like, I ain't studying either one of these chicks. Come and get this lefty swing right here. You know? So you just never know, right?
Right.
But how exciting of a final was that for the women this year?
Yeah, it was incredible, man. I mean, I think that, again, team spirit was all in effect, and I think the crowd was into it. I just, you look at the comments on, social media, and I really feel like everybody really, really enjoyed and engaged in that final. So I thought it was awesome.
Yeah. So congratulations to both
Yes.
ladies. Job very well done.
Yes.
And so shall we do it, Isaac?
Let's go on and do it, friend. Because why? Because we predicted it.
Y'all better start listening to us.
I'm trying to tell you. You might want to help yourself and just listen to Brothers on Tennis.
Yes. What we said happened the way we said it was going to happen. We were going to have 1 versus 2. Djokovic versus Medvedev. And the thing that was very surprising to me, I shouldn't say surprising because I understand it. A lot of people, like if Djokovic wasn't going to get it done, you heard people really talking about Zverev was the one who had the best chance of stopping him. And I just
Bryce, remember that was my initial prediction. Remember that, because when we did our initial prediction show, I that was actually who I thought was going to get it done was Zverev, and then I thought Zverev was going to lose to Medvedev. You were actually the one that called it 100% correct, because you said that Djokovic would get past Zverev, but he would not get past Medvedev. So that's all on you, sir. You actually own the correct prediction.
Well, and let me just explain the reason why I thought Djokovic was going to get past Zverev. It's 2 reasons. The first reason is on Zverev's side. We have seen for years now with Zverev that he can beat any one of them guys on a tour. He can beat all the big 3. He can beat all of them. Almost on any surface. Maybe not so much grass, but on all the rest of the surfaces, he can beat them. The problem with Zverev the whole time has been his inconsistency.
Right.
So for me, the fact that he had won the gold medal and had won Cincinnati, look, he was done. he, for his big wins, he was done. And then to remind everyone, Zverev is he's 0-11 against top 10 players in majors.
Yeah. Yep.
He just has never shown that he could get it done. So that was one reason I was kind of feeling like, he may have already shot his shot. Right.
Right.
The other side was Djokovic.
Right.
Look, if Djokovic didn't win but one match at the U.S. Open, he was going to beat Zverev because Zverev was the one who ended his golden slam.
That's true.
And he was not about to lose twice to him. And now, I shout out to Sasha for making it a 5-set match. Because I was like, wow, I'm really surprised. So he's really putting in work, right? He actually played pretty well,
I
right?
thought he played very well. Absolutely.
But Djokovic in that fifth set was like, no, friend,
He was
we
like,
are
not today.
not in Tokyo.
Exactly.
We're not.
Sorry. And this is best of 5.
Right. It's not going to happen.
No.
But a lot of the commentators were like thinking Zverev was the one if this thing was going to end. For me, I always felt it was going to be Medvedev, and I felt that for several reasons. Number one, he had the experience of really being on the edge of winning that year against Nadal.
Correct.
5 sets at the U.S. Open. So being in the finals of the U.S. Open was not new for him, and he almost did it the last time.
Right.
Number 2, the loss he took to Novak in the finals of the Australian Open.
Yep.
There was nothing but lessons to be learned from that one. Number 3, the Olympics. Medvedev was the only guy from his Olympic squad that did not medal.
Correct.
Khachanov got the silver in singles. Rublev got the gold in mixed doubles.
Yep.
Karatsev got the silver in mixed doubles.
Yep.
Medvedev was the only one who didn't medal. The only way he was going to redeem himself from that was to win a major.
We're going to shut this ish down real quick.
Right. Yeah, you can have your once every 4-year medals.
Yep.
I got me a major here.
Exactly.
And then the final thing, to me, and I don't know all these people like that, so I probably shouldn't step out like this. But in addition to Medvedev's play, he has always impressed me as one of the smartest guys out there.
Oh, yeah. Of the young guys, for sure.
Yeah. He's not going to go out there and just, time after time again and just get thumped.
The same way.
Right. No.
Right.
Matter of fact, Medvedev is known for changing up tactics within a match.
Right.
To win.
Correct.
So with all of those things going on with Medvedev, and then I look over at Djokovic and remember, number 1, his confidence is a little rattled from what happened to him at the Olympics.
Yes.
Number 2, he had come into the finals. He had lost 6 sets coming into the finals, right? I don't know when the last time he lost that many sets leading into a major final.
Right.
The third thing was we always call Novak clutch.
Yep.
But this was a type of pressure he had never had on him before. He was 1 match away from winning a Grand Slam.
Right.
One of the most coveted things you can do in professional tennis. One of the rarest things you can do in professional tennis. As a matter of fact, one of the few things that's rarer is a Golden Slam and what Raducanu did.
Exactly.
Yep. And so I just felt that this was Medvedev's year. And one of my buddies told me when Medvedev was up 2 sets to love, he said, okay, watch out. Djokovic came back on Tsitsipas when he was up 2 sets. I was like, don't you even fix your mouth to say that Medvedev and Tsitsipas are anything alike.
Well, and let me go on ahead and throw this out there as well. And this is why Medvedev needs to include Zverev on his Christmas list every single year going forward. Because I agree with what you're saying. I think that Medvedev would have taken this title regardless. But I actually believe it would have gone 4, if not 5, had he not played against Zverev in the semis. Zverev emotionally took a lot out of Djokovic. Those 5 sets or 6 sets that you talked about, 2 of those came from Zverev the match before. He was mentally he had to expend a lot of energy and mental fortitude to get through that match with Zverev, because Zverev actually, like we talked about, he played a really, really good match. And it wasn't until the fifth that he really, in my opinion, kind of tightened up. And that's where Djokovic showed him being clutch and was like, not today,
Right.
son. I'm about to get past this semifinal. Not today, but getting
Right.
to the final, that energy, that when you combine like what you said, what he was trying to accomplish, as well as you've got, your energy supply is not at its peak, and you're going against someone like Medvedev who really don't care who you are and is looking to get revenge on you from the
Right.
Australian Open. I mean,
Yeah.
and like you said, one of the smartest players of the new generation. I absolutely agree with that statement, Bryce. He by far is the smartest player of any of those guys out there. And so when you're coming
Right.
against that, to me, it would have been Herculean for Djokovic to be able to
Yeah.
win that particular final. And it showed. It showed. Medvedev just was like, nah, bruh. Bruh, it's not your day to day because I'm coming with it.
Because didn't Medvedev break him in like the first game?
Yeah.
And then he was basically in the lead for the rest of the day.
He made a statement. He was like, "Listen, bitch, I'm scared of you. We done this dance. I know what's coming. I got you."
Yep.
And
And like
bruh,
some of the commentators said, he beat Djokovic at his own game.
he did. Yes, exactly. I mean, he played Djokovic tennis better than Djokovic on the day because again, there were so many things you pointed it out, Bryce. Those pressures were just overwhelming, and I think it came to its head during that match.
Well, you know what? I don't think it's a big secret that I'm not the biggest Djokovic fan in the world, but one of the things I've always said about him, and I have to reiterate it even here, he has always been I feel just the most gracious loser.
Yes, I agree.
And I think it was very genuine, his sentiments to Medvedev there at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And he even today on Twitter, he sent out a congratulatory message out to both Emma and Medvedev.
Wow.
And so, for as crazy as Djokovic can be at times, that's something he's very good at. Oh, and let's make sure we touch on that too, because he did go crazy a couple times during the match.
Oh, yeah. You saw that racket smash. Woo!
Well, and not only the racket smash, you saw the time where he like reared back like he was going to hit that ball, and that ball kid,
and the ball kid was in the way.
Yeah, that ball kid was about to catch it, and I tell you what, it was about to be a real short final right there because
real short.
He was going to get defaulted again.
Yeah.
So it just shows. I mean, that's just something he has. He's got a problem controlling.
Exactly. It's him. He's just reactionary. He's admitted that, and and like I said, if he just wouldn't say a lot of the dumb things that he said, I can get over that type of stuff. I can get past that type of stuff. But it's just some of the dumb stuff he says. That's what unfortunately drives me to not be able to really support him. But what I will say is this, Bryce, and I have to say that I actually I'm like you, not really a fan, but I respect what he does on court, and again, very gracious loser. But I'm gonna tell you what, that moment that he basically towards the end, and when you saw him basically break down and he was crying into his towel, I felt it a little bit. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. My heart fluttered a little bit for him because it was like, okay, we all know, and we talk about this. Djokovic wants to be loved. He wants to be appreciated, and he wants to feel all the good feels that Roger and Rafa always get. And I honestly feel like he actually got that in that final. I feel like the New York crowd was genuinely rooting for him, supporting him the way that he actually wants to be supported and regarded. And I think that got to him and overwhelmed him because he was crying like convulsion, type of crying. And
Yeah.
that was real.
And
That was real.
yeah, when I saw that, the thought that went through my mind was, man, you
Well,
got
yeah.
him. Come back and break
Well,
him
yeah,
again.
yeah. Yeah,
Get him.
yeah. And of course, then Medvedev subsequently choked. And then, because
I know. I was like,
he really should have had him giving him a whole biscuit in that third
he
set.
really, and
But,
that, I wanted that. I wanted the whole biscuit so I could talk about it. But I will tell you this: when he got broken there, I was like, Medvedev will not get broken the next time around.
No, not at 5-4. I did not think that Djokovic had a chance to come back. Even if he were to sneak out that third set, he was not going to win that match. Because again, when you're talking about your energy supply has just been depleted the way that it had been, that he was running on fumes at that point, just emotional fumes. So I wasn't too worried about him coming back.
So shout out to Medvedev. I mean, Medvedev is now the first one of the next gen to win a major going through the big three. And,
correct.
He went through the number one guy and the finals on the surface that he is considered most dominant.
Yeah. Yes. Correct.
Well,
even though,
the Australian,
I was about to say, I think he's more suited to the Australian than the U.S. Open, but still, it's a hard court, so you still would have thought he would have won. Exactly.
Right. But, they were 1-2, I think, in every aspect. They were 1-2 in the rankings. I think they're 1-2 in terms of hardcore player. I can't remember. It seemed like earlier we were talking to somebody. I can't remember who it was, and they were like, I think it was about FAA, and I was like, don't you understand, like, this is a hard court? And Medvedev is like, maybe the best hard court player out there. I mean, he and Djokovic are kind of like what and what. I mean, Medvedev all day long in that scenario. Now, of course, we can't talk about any of this without having our Serena Williams stat.
Yes.
Of the U.S. Open. So they listed the players that have the most match wins at the U.S. Open.
Okay.
Serena is number one with 106. Number two is Chris Evert with 101. Jimmy Connors at third with 98. Navratilova fourth with 89. Oh, actually, she's tied with Roger at 89. Okay. Djokovic is next at 81. Venus at 79. Oh, well, Venus and Agassi are tied at 79.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So, once again, highlighting what Serena has done,
Right. Which is so ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there was a poll I saw online today, and I didn't snap. I should have screenshotted it so I could have the actual numbers, but I just was very interested in the overall results. They were asking, who is your personal GOAT, right? And the options was between, the big three, right?
Right.
And whoever has this, forgive me if I mix up the numbers, but I'm close to what the numbers were. Roger was like somewhere like 43%.
Okay.
Or something.
Yep.
And I think Rafa was like 36%. And then Djokovic was like 12 or 13.
12? Oh, wow. Okay.
Right. So he was still, now granted, this is, they said, who's your personal GOAT? So this is, people's preference, where they're thinking.
Right.
There was still that gap there. And when I saw that, it made me wonder if Djokovic had won yesterday and had actually gotten the Grand Slam, would that have changed those numbers for people? Because I think right now, with him not winning, it's not that he just didn't win the Grand Slam. It's that he also stayed at 20, which is he's technically tied with Rafa and Roger still.
Right, right.
So it gives people still that space to have that argument of, well, if we're starting with most number of majors, they're all tied. Now I can choose the reasons why I support who I support out of the big three.
Right, right. Yeah, and
You
I
know,
I agree with you. I think some people may have changed their answer, but I don't, honestly, to be honest with you, Bryce, I don't think it would have been a large percentage though. Because I mean,
you
you and
may
I
be
have talked
right.
about this. Even if Novak had won, yesterday and completed the calendar slam, I've said this on
Uh-huh.
several of our podcasts. He's still not my GOAT. Roger is my GOAT simply because there are so many other aspects that I feel come into play when you're talking about the greatest of all time for a sport. I feel like it goes outside of the lines. And what Roger has done for tennis, it
Right.
far outweighs, in my eyes, what both Nadal and Djokovic have done and or contributed. So for me, and again, for that particular poll, if it's me, I'm always going to say Roger. And I feel
Right.
like a lot of people who are in the Roger and or Rafa camp will say their particular GOAT, you know,
Right.
based on that.
Right. Well, and there was another Twitter thing I saw where a guy had written, he said, Djokovic was the best, Nadal was the most dominant, and Roger was the greatest. And
Mm-hmm.
his explanation for each was Djokovic was the best because of the statistics,
Right.
right?
Yep.
They had Rafa as the most dominant because what he has done on clay
Mm-hmm.
is just
And
insane.
just point for point. I mean, like even Darren Cahill said, if my life was depending on it, who would I have playing that last point? It would be Rafa. And I agree with that
Rafa.
100%.
Right. So he had him for most dominant. And then the reason he had Roger as the greatest is he said, Novak is a great player, right? But he is just basically like, I forgot how he described him, but he was like, he's a counterpuncher with offense or whatever. He said, Roger is like an artist
Mm-hmm.
on the
Mm-hmm.
court. He said, Roger hits shots that you just don't see anybody else hit.
Right.
He's like watching, someone in art in performance on the court, and
Right.
he said you don't see that with the other guys,
Mm-hmm.
And so I
Mm-hmm.
thought that was just very interesting the way that person had, broken it down, and it just once again takes me back to what I always say. I think we should acknowledge this era as the era of the big three
Of the big three.
because
Exactly.
it's really what they've done collectively on this tour that is just what probably won't ever be seen again during the
Absolutely agree.
same time. So one more thing before we wrap this up, because although Serena wasn't there, we need to keep Serena's name out there.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know that Serena Williams is the only player in history to have a career Golden Slam in singles and doubles?
Ooh, nice stat, Bryce.
Yeah, because Andre Agassi has it in singles.
Yep.
Steffi Graf has it in singles.
Yep.
Do the Bryans have it in doubles?
Ooh,
Did they get a
you
gold?
know what? They might. I think that, yeah, I believe they have a gold medal.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they do.
All right. So they may have it in doubles. Nobody but Serena has it in singles and doubles.
Amazing.
And with that, I drop the mic.
Yep.
So, Isaac, any final words you have about the 2021 U.S. Open?
Oh man, it was such a great tournament. I honestly hate that it's over. It was, yeah. I have to say it was a little bit, I was a little sad when that last match came to an end, but it was just awesome, Bryce, and it was great talking the tennis with you, with our listeners. It's just been a joy, man. How about you? Any wrap up thoughts?
Just once again, a shout out to our family there on Clubhouse that got up every morning with us and did the daily recap.
Yes.
I'm telling y'all, if y'all are not participating in that, catch us again for the Australian Open. That's where the party's at.
That's where the party's at.
So Yeah, definitely join us on Clubhouse for our daily recaps during the majors. But yeah, like I said, this US Open may have been the most exciting US Open I can remember ever watching.
Absolutely.
So you all keep listening. We got Laver Cup coming up. We have Indian Wells still coming up. So the year is definitely not over. And stick with Brothers on Tennis. We'll bring all of it to you. So on behalf of the podcast, this is your boy Bryce.
And this is your boy Isaac.
And we are Brothers on Tennis. Everyone, take care.